Hey everybody, and welcome to a special behind the scenes look at Terraria episode 500. Now I'm making this episode primarily to show off the build a little bit more, explain why I built it, why I recorded the episode in such a way that I did, and things like that, and a little bit of the behind the scenes kind of stuff. So, to begin with, let's start off and explain about the fact that Terraria episode 500 is really Terraria episode 400. If you don't know, way back when, this build was planned initially to be for episode 400, but about 2/3 of the way into the build, once the entire structure was built and I was kind of working on the detailing, my PC full on died and I lost everything. So that compounded with the fact that I moved and being ill of that time period as well, it kind of delayed that whole thing, because I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do, whether or not to figure something out with it or just destroy it completely and then rebuild again from scratch. But I'd already put in so much effort into it, I really didn't want to. And now that you guys have seen it, you can probably understand why I didn't want to have to restart on something like that kind of scale. So I kept putting it off, and every time a Let's Build would come up, I'd figure out something not quite as grandiose as that, and maybe something not even a Let's Build. I mean, the last couple, I said I was going to do them, every 25 episodes, and I haven't been doing that for the last few, because I've been working on this, and, well, that and moving and all the other nonsense that I've spoken about. So, why did I build what I built? Well, a lot of comments were asking me to build a spaceship, and that did actually tie in with what I wanted to do myself. If we take a look back at episode 199, which was Let's Build a Pyramid, I think this was the first video where I'd sort of roleplayed and I'd given the world of World 7 Pipeline a little bit of a backstory. So I'd built this ancient pyramid foretelling of something to come in the future. Sadly, however, I didn't space this role-playing out very well, because literally the very next episode 200, was called This Is the End, and that was what the pyramid had spotted. That was the meteors coming down. And then a few of the other Let's Build have kind of tied into it, but only loosely. For example, Let's Build an underwater base. The reason for me building that was in case the meteors that were coming would destroy the main base. And then Let's Build Yggdrasil was to show that this world had more life in it, that the meteors perhaps couldn't threaten as easily, having this big tree of life pumping everything out. And then, with episode 400, I had no real sort of role-playing idea for it. I had the whole idea of a spaceship raining down corruption, and that was about it. But then, by the time episode 500 rolled around, I was like, it was about 450, I realised I need to finish building this, and I don't want to start again. I need to think of a way to make this work as an episode. So that's when I remembered the whole role-playing aspect and give a bit more story to the world, and that's when I was like, I'll corrupt the world, I'll do this, I'll do that. And one of the main reasons of some of the things you've seen in this video I'm going to explain now, the teleporters not working, my teleporters, not the Rod of This God, that is. The reason for that is that I'm using them a bit too much. The same with my traps, the same with my arena. I use them too much and things are becoming a little bit samey, a little bit boring. When there's a blood moon, I hide in my arena, turn my traps, and then 8 minutes later it's over. Fight the frost moon, I literally just sit in my arena for 10 minutes. If I want to get to the other side of the world, I just teleport them there and snap of the fingers. It's that simple. It became a little bit boring, so I figured we have this whole wide world. We should maybe just explore it a bit more, just walk through it every once in a while. I mean, I have done a brief walk across. I'm not sure when this was, maybe 100 videos ago, maybe 150. And basically, as I walked across, I just filled the landscape in a little bit, making like bridges and stuff, and just ways to get around. Maybe not so much with the Fortress of the Damned there, but just just getting around the landscape a bit easier, even if I didn't have wings. So what I might do is just, use these things. I'm not sure I have any on the right-hand side of the world, but then again, it was always fairly easy to navigate through this anyway. It's quite flat. But yeah, I figured it gives us a bit of movement, and now that we... Hang on a second, I just need to... Now that we can't use our traps anymore, it makes me want to commit to using some weapons. And we have these weapons, and as always, recently, we're going to be using a variety of different weapons that we have saved up. So, one of the things I want to point out, and I will need a wrench for this, is you lot are not that attentive, or calling me out for how I disrupted my traps, and I'll tell you now, you are all wrong. A lot of you were saying, it's so obvious why his traps aren't working, he hasn't connected them to a switch. Look, they're not even connected to a switch, how can you expect these to... Wait a second. How are these working? They're not connected to a switch. That's how it's always been. I made a not a specific video for this, but I did make a video complaining about this, and I've been on the forums as well. But this is a complete glitch that I think is only in the console version, maybe on the 360 version, I don't know. But switches will literally activate any wire adjacent to them. So that is the 9 blocks around a switch will be activated. There. So this is that's not why the teleporters weren't working. There was another reason for that, and it's not why the traps weren't working either. So you'll see how, look, see this green wire? Not even touching, but it was still activated. So that's, yeah, a few of you were wrong on that for calling that out. Let me put this away wherever it goes. You know what, it doesn't even matter. Then I found the chest, it will matter now. Yeah, so that's one thing, but yeah, other than this one video now, we won't be using these traps anymore. We won't be using these teleporters anymore. If we want to get somewhere, we're going to have to walk there manually, which means I'm a lot less inclined to come over here to dump stuff off, or even go to my underwater base to dump stuff off. I'll be struggling with a much fuller inventory, and of course we won't be going over to the arena to do a lot of fighting. Now let's get back. That's about as much teleporting as we're going to get out of me today. So, yeah, that's the main reason why I've role-played the teleporters and switches not working. In case you didn't realise, of course, this is caused by the spaceship. What I was going to do, but I didn't like the look of it, was build like a little satellite dish on the top. And then when I inevitably get bored of walking around, I can go and destroy the satellite. So even though the ship's not destroyed, I can still teleport around. But I thought, no, it's just... I'd prefer just to, when it comes time to destroy that ship, to do it just in one clean swoop. If we indeed can think of a way to destroy it. So we're going to have a quick look now. Let's in fact go over to the build. And I do actually quite enjoy looking at this at night. Maybe not the build itself on the map, but definitely. So yeah, it's so difficult to get to. The only way to get to it is to stand here and fly all the way up. There we go. And that gets us to this. Now, let's do one thing before I reset this to daytime to have a much quicker, a better look at it in the brightness. And that is get over here. So, one of the things in the comments I saw you guys discussing how I may have done this. Oops. And that was, how come I couldn't break in? What kind of blocks must these be if I cannot get into them with a pick saw? Well, simple answer is, they are tungsten bricks. Nothing too fancy, they're easily destroyed. So how did I go at them without destroying them? Well, that's just a little bit of magic. That's just a little bit of fancy editing is all it is. Literally just a bit of fancy editing to make it look like I was smashing the bricks, when in actuality I really wasn't. I was swinging away up here somewhere. I just made it look like I was swinging away down here. And that's that. Right, let's get away from this and just get a bit of distance. And the reason for this, I think this build, it looks amazing on the map at night time because it pops out a little bit more. There's like some blue stuff that you can't see against the blue night. So now that it's like pitch black, I mean, if I get rid of this, this thing. I mean, look at this. You don't even know I was outside. You think I was buried underground. So let's open this up on the map, and there we go. Much, much clearer on the map at nighttime look. I absolutely love the design on this. That sounds kind of boastful, but I do. So let's discuss this in kind of detail here. Down at the bottom we have these spikes. Now the reason I added these initially was because I just didn't like the whole bowl shape. It needed something to make it stand out a little bit, and I thought let's add some just some like crystals almost coming down, and then as time went on I kind of modified them into this shape. It's symmetrical down the middle, but I didn't want them all sort of angled the same way, so you'll notice the two inner ones are angled differently, opposite, and they're also shorter. So that's how that is. I've also put little dips in there for the waterfalls to come down, and we can look at that closer in the daytime. As you can tell though, it is completely filled with water. More water than there ever was in the ocean that was here. More water than there is in both oceans combined. So, as you can imagine, getting a lot of water in this took a while. Luckily, I didn't use buckets. I used a pumping system and then the duplication method to have it duplicating more and more water rather than tracking down each individual pocket and pumping those out and through. But yeah, filling that with water took a long time, and because of these circles, these like cells in the middle, I didn't want to have to fill the circles in individually, so I filled that entire section in and then built the circles afterwards, which meant I was building whilst underwater, which, as you may know, makes it pretty dark and pretty difficult to see. In these tanks here, it's not completely symmetrical in regards to the pattern on the inside, but I don't know if you can see, but originally my idea for these was to have two strips that were going to be windows, like purple stained glass windows. Then I thought, you know what, after millennia of corrupting worlds, the inside is probably corrupted. You know, like when you have a kettle that you've used too much and it gets a bit lime scaly? Imagine the same with that, but with corruption. So I've covered the windows up with like almost corruption. It's all raggedy and horrible. And I did it in sort of a random pattern rather than planning it out, which is why it looks different to this side. Maybe not to a quick glance, but yeah, they are different. Same with the connecting pipes. These connecting pipes were originally just two really thick ones, and I decided I didn't like the look of that, so I split it down to three, and then I sort of thinned out the two on the end in the middle slightly, just to give it a bit of character. The one in the middle I didn't, because I didn't want everything too samey. But that's that. And then this core, the core was the very first thing I did. And I had that clearly in mind. It was the first thing I designed was this. And then I was getting a bit concerned. It looked a bit too much like a Templar cross. So I tried my best to readjust that. But what we have is lava followed by water and followed by more lava. And then of course the bottom section filled with more water. But I like that. I've got the idea of sort of like it's the power source basically. And then above that we have this intricate piping system. Now, in my mind it was a lot more simple than this, and then when I came to building it I made it even more complicated than it is now, and to my eye it just looked too busy. It looked like there's too much going on, so I cut out a lot of the pipes. So it's probably not structurally the best design for pumping water around, and if you look at the main one, it's just a single pipe is containing a lot of the water that's going to get pumped around here, as opposed to the bottoms and the higher areas having multiple pipes. So it's not the most structurally sound design, but it was just too busy before, and I like how it looks now. It looks like there's just meaning to what it is. And then of course the pipes come out into these chimneys, and it's pretty difficult to tell, but these smoke clouds that I've made those out of cobwebs. I painted those in purple paint or violet paint, I forget, just to make them look a bit corrupted. Now, some of the clouds here have been destroyed because I landed in them, but I've got them all blowing in the same way, so the ship itself is moving. And this middle, sort of the thing I call the control center, that has a rainbow brick background wall, just to have it cycling through the different colors, which I think looks really nice. Now I'm going to reset the game to be daytime, and then we're going to come in and have a closer look in non-map view. Right, so as we fly up here, now that it's daytime, let's talk about these spikes. So these are made from just slime blocks. If I mine one out of here, I can show you. Just regular old slime blocks, look. And what I did was I painted them different colours. So we have the natural blue slime block. Then I believe that's purple, then violet, and then pink. Yeah, purple, violet, and pink for those. And here, look, I've just taken away the tungsten brick. So the water is flooding this, and then because this one is a hammered block, it creates this waterfall, which I think is a nice little thing pouring down there. And same on the other side. Right, if we go up to these cells, and one thing you guys were asking me was, how did I make it so I was instantly taking damage? Well, simply, I did this. When I teleported in, I cut out the next few seconds of me drowning. So you'll see my bubbles going down there. And once I started to take damage, that's when I faded back in. So it looked like I was instantly teleporting in, but I wasn't. Yeah, I'd cut out a few seconds of just standing here and drowning. Not that you know. Right, let's not drown in here. So that's a bit more editing magic. Nothing too fancy for that. So these are all completely identical cells. And then we have this little circle thing here. Now on each of these I've done the exact same thing. Look, I've put crystals on each of the 4 points, these little crystal shards. Every 4 points on every single one has crystal shards. See? Now the background walls here are actually demonite brick walls. Of course we have a lot of demonite from the many, many Eyes of Cthulhu we fought. So I made a lot of background walls for them, put them in. The slime bricks here, you might be able to... these are slime bricks again, by the way. These are, again, every single one is painted violet, just to make it just look a bit different. Right, let's go out of here if we can. Can we get over here? We can, and then let's get out of it. So yeah, as you can see, it's a repeating pattern. That is the part that took me the longest in the most recent thing, because this entire outer area was built. It was the inner stuff that I needed doing. So these patterns on the wall, the piping structure, the circles, and then of course filling it all with water. That was what I had to do after I lost the footage. So let's take a look inside these big tanks here. So can you see here, look, we have like, I think it's called bubblegum wall. Let's take a bit and see. It is bubble wallpaper is what it is. And again, I think that is painted purple, I can't tell. And then here we have, of course, the purple wall that I told you about. Purple stained glass. That's corrupted up. And then every so often, look, these purple slime blocks covered in crystals. Just to make it look a bit more raggedy and a bit more corrupted. And look, these pipes are absolutely covered in crystals. So many crystals. So much corruption. This area I'm slightly saddened by, again, with the dodgy walls, glass walls from the update. It would have looked a lot nicer without them. Oopsie daisy, and then, come on, get up here. Up here, of course, the chimneys and the purple smoke, which you can't really tell it's purple, but you have to trust me. On the sun there, look, it looks a bit purple, doesn't it? And then, get rid of these. If you're wondering what these pipes are made out of, it is very simply just dynasty wood, or dynasty wood, painted grey, I believe it is. Or, yeah, I think it's painted grey. Put that on there. And then the inner of these pipes is quite simply just some plate blocks, which are usually bright yellow, but if you place them in the middle, they go blue. So you see how it's blue, but again, they're painted to be dark grey. Jeebus, come on! As you can imagine, when I was building this, I did get attacked a lot of the time by these things. And then we're going to go in here now. Now you may notice the background wall here, look, I made it look so there's just so many pipes going around, a lot more piping other than these main stuff. And that is, I think it's called like copper pipe wall. Copper pipe wallpaper. Again, painted just grey rather than the copper colour that it is. And then I've explained that this is rainbow background bricks in there. So I think that is all discussed. If there's anything else, I'd give you a closer look at the core, I guess. Let's teleport in. That's not how you teleport in. Man, I am an absolute donut today. Across there, back here, up here. Like that. And then... Whew. What a pain to navigate. Oh yeah, I never explained. These are purple slime blocks again, and then underneath those are purple painted rain clouds. It's just spraying down the corruption, look. Doesn't come down as far as I would have liked, but you know what? I'll take it, it's still pretty good. Right, navigating through this is a bit tricky. Here we go. So this is the core. Now this is made out of silver block? Platinum bricks. I shouldn't have smashed that. This is made out of platinum bricks and glass. So this is basically the core here. And I can teleport in if I equip that. Have a bit of a closer look again. So this is platinum bricks, then water, and then lava. And that is, yeah, that's that. I think that is all I was going to show off around here. I've explained the background walls, that everything has been pretty much painted. Even with me inside it, you can see the size difference. Right, so, if you remember, this spread corruption everywhere, and I was going around getting rid of it, and you guys mentioned I'd missed some patches, don't even worry about that. In terms of roleplay purposes, every episode, this thing is going to spray some corruption down, and then at the end of the episode, I'll remove it off camera. But don't worry, just don't worry about it at all. It's not actually going to do anything like that. It's nothing I can't control myself, unless of course I want to, yeah, add a bit more role-playing to it. But in terms of this ship, this spaceship being destroyed, or being defeated, or being shut down, or whatever, that is, I already have a plan in mind on what I want to do with it. I did say I don't know how to take care of this thing, but secretly I do, and I'm going to make another role-playing episode for that. I'm not sure when it will be, episode 525-ish, something around that. I'm not sure, you'll know it when you see it. And other than that, I think that's everything I want to talk about. I've explained the editing process, a couple of things, a couple of secrets I've done. I've explained the wiring not being as broken as you guys think it was. But yeah, for all role-playing purposes, these teleporters and these traps no longer work. Right, I'm going to go ahead and record a whole bunch of Terraria episodes proper, and that might take a few days before those are up well and good and back into the normal flow of things. But now that this big build is completed, it is just a huge weight off my mind. I no longer have to worry about, in the back of my mind, at some point I'm going to have to come back and do this. And at some point I might accidentally reveal it. Like a few times I've revealed it on the map and I've had to censor myself. Like, you know, when I'm stood down here and you can just about see it there and it's like, crap! I need to blank that out so no one can see. It's usually when I'm running into the jungle looking for Plantera bulbs. But yeah, for the future we have quite a lot planned. We have some mini Let's Builds in mind, we have big Let's Builds in mind, probably going to happen around 450. We have bosses to fight, we have the Frost Moon and Pumpkin Moon, which I no longer have my arena, so that's going to be fun. I might have to resort to this old thing, which I'm quite disgusted with. I actually want to tear that down, but I just have this thing about not destroying old things. Maybe I'll just knock down the upper section of it, because that whole upper section was just for fighting Wyverns, which, well, we've got far more Souls of Flight than we'll ever need. Yeah, so tune in a few days and we'll be back on schedule. Videos will be coming out well and good and proper, and nothing is going to be holding me back. Thank you for watching this behind the scenes video. I hope you enjoyed it. For now though, goodbye.